Louie T, welcome to this LouieTeeNetwork exclusive limited series finale, The Reign of Terror, chronicling the near quarter century of terror Daniel Snyder has reigned over this Washington Commanders / football team / Redskins organization. Finally and mercifully, it has come to an end, but not without one final big FU from Snyder and company and all that he left in his wake. Now, I can't begin to tell you how excited I am for the future of this franchise, especially coming from where we just came from and what we just survived and made it out of. What we have done in this short period of time to give the fans hope that this thing is going in the right direction has been outstanding. Almost more than I could have imagined when this process first started on July 20th, 2023. And we'll go through the timeline in 2023, this final year of the Reign of Terror. It was a season filled with hope. Going in was 2023. And I can't speak for anybody else out there. I myself fell for the banana in the tailpipe. And I should know better, but I didn't. Because I wanted to win, and I thought we were getting a winner, a guy with a proven track record that was going to come in here and elevate this offense and take it to new heights. I knew the talent that existed with Sam Howell and what he was capable of. And I knew that if we got the right offensive mind in here, we could change things and potentially shock some people. What I didn't take into consideration was, one, Ronald Rivera was still here. And even though I tried to convince myself that just moving on from Scott Turner and replacing him with someone that we thought would be more competent would be enough, I was wrong. Ronald Rivera was still here, and he was still taking up space and not getting the job done. Jack Del Rio was still the defensive coordinator. And then, of course, Eric Bieniemy turned out to be fraudulent. So all of those things took place. Still, the hope was there. And so we start on February 18th, 2023, which is when Washington made the decision to hire Eric Bieniemy. He has this grandiose press conference. It felt like a press conference you would have for a head coach. We were so excited that we rolled out the red carpet for an offensive coordinator. I don't know if that's being done in other cities. I don't know if other NFL teams are making such a big deal of hiring an offensive coordinator the way that we did. We rolled out the head coach treatment for Eric Bieniemy. We ate up his press conference. He talked about straining. He talked about collectively dragging our asses across the finish line. He talked about this team just needing a little bit more nasty. And we all ate it up. Every single word. We ate it up. Just like Terry McLaurin did. Just like Sam Howell did. Just like Cam Curl did. And all the players that attended his press conference that were sitting right there in the front row. We all ate it up. And that started about a good 6-month honeymoon phase with Eric Bieniemy, where we're just on cloud nine, talking about what this guy's going to do and how he's going to elevate the play of Terry McLaurin, and Jahan Dotson's going to have a career year, and Curtis Samuel's going to be one of the best number 3 receivers in the NFL, and what he's going to do to the tight end position, and what he's going to do for these running backs, and what's going to happen for Antonio Gibson in this offense this year. Oh my goodness, this is going to be great. Hell, De'Ami Brown might actually eat this year too as a number 4. Sky was the limit. In between there, though, the official sale of the Washington Commanders took place on July 20th, 2023, and it might have been the most glorious moment most of us have experienced as fans, sans for winning a Super Bowl championship. A lot of you have not experienced that. I've only experienced it once, I'd like to experience it again and again and again and again. But there's no feeling like winning a Super Bowl. Nothing tops that. However, this was very close. And for most of us, especially if you haven't seen a Super Bowl one, haven't experienced it, this is by far and away the best thing that has happened to you as a fan of this team. Without question. So we rejoiced and we celebrated. And that just added more fuel to the fire of the excitement that was 2023. We head into the preseason. And mind you, there were red flags along the way. There were stop signs and there were red lights that we ran through. That should have told us, maybe this isn't as good as we think it is. The first one that appeared was when Ronald Rivera decided to tell the media that there's some players that complained about what Eric Bieniemy was doing and how tough he was. And he had to explain to them what he was trying to get across, and maybe they needed to go talk to EB, which was the dumbest thing he could have done. And that sent off a media firestorm, and it got picked up nationally, and it became an S-storm. Typical of this team, this organization. Can't get out of their own way. Eric Bieniemy has to go and put the fire out. He takes the high road, but the damage was done. Right? Should have known something was off then. We just chalked it up to our players need to get tougher. Mentally, they need to be physically tougher. That guy's a winner. He came from Kansas City. He knows what winning looks like. Stop bitching. Get in line and let's go win some ball games. Boy, we couldn't have been further from the truth. We should have known when this team went 3-0 in the preseason and we got guys like Joey Sly going off and taunting the Ravens sideline after a game-winning field goal in a meaningless preseason game. We should have known after the Commanders went 3-0 in the preseason. You remember that? Yeah, good times, right? We head into the regular season and we're talking reckless. I can't speak for you. I'm talking reckless. I want to beat the Arizona Cardinals, who had just traded or released rather Colt McCoy, right? And traded for Josh Dobbs, and it's either him or the rookie quarterback they took in like the 5th or 6th round that's going to start for them in week 1. Dobbs just got there like 10 days ago. There's no way this guy's going to be prepared for us. This is supposed to be a vaunted defense. I'm trying to win by 100. And if we don't win by at least 2 or 3 scores, I'm going to be disappointed. Well, that tune changed very quickly as we barely escaped the Arizona Cardinals with a, 5-point victory? Something along those lines. I don't think they scored a touchdown the entire day offensively. I think we beat them 17-13, if I'm not mistaken. Something along those lines. They did score a defensive touchdown on the scoop and score. But ultimately, it was a win. You don't turn those down in the NFL. But boy, we were disappointed. It felt like a loss, but we won. The next game in Denver was a big one because it's on the road. It's Denver. It's a tough place to play. It's Sam Howell's first road game. It's Eric Bieniemy's first time on the road as the offensive coordinator here in Washington. And Denver's been a tough place for Washington to go and win. We hadn't won there in ages. It starts ugly. Down 21-3 halfway through the second quarter. Defense can't get a stop. Offensive line is atrocious. This is really bad. And then something clicked and something happened. And it was marvelous. And Washington scored 32 unanswered points. And ended up taking a 35-21 lead. And for a moment, you sat there and you thought to yourself, oh my God, we're going to do this. we're really going to actually have a shot to do this year. You remember how you felt after Washington tried to blow that lead? Almost gave up a 2-point conversion after a miracle Hail Mary was completed. But somehow they didn't call pass interference on Benjamin St-Juste. And Jerry Jeudy was wide open on the other side of the field. Had Russell Wilson seen him, it would have been an easy touchdown. But instead he tried to force it to the receiver on the front side. And Benjamin St-Juste was all kinds of physical with that guy. But they didn't call it. And we escaped with a 35-33 victory. Do you remember how you felt? Because I remember how I felt.
35, and counting. B-Rob, E.B., Sam. The boys is dangerous. Hey, hurry up. We at the restaurant. I'm telling them hurry up before they try to take my win back. We 2-0. Hurry up, bring your ass, get in this car. We 2-0.
Oh, those were good times. I don't know where they at, but I'm just trying to bring the good times back. I don't know where the hell they went at, but I just want to bring the good times back. Oh, how that feels so long ago. The next game up on the docket was the Buffalo Bills, and this was supposed to be a test, and Ronald Rivera made sure he told us as much. This is a test for this young team. Gonna see how good we are. Put all that pressure on the team unnecessarily. It's nothing wrong with saying that this is a litmus test and you want to see how the guys handle it, but he went overboard. He went above and beyond the Call of Duty of making sure they knew that this was a test. And boy, did we fail miserably. Sam Howell was awful. The play calling was just as equally as bad. I think Sam got sacked 8 or 9 times in that game. I think he threw 4 interceptions in that game. And we just were awful defensively as well. And the floodgates, broke in and opened up in the fourth quarter. This was a 16-0 ball game. We hung in as long as we could, and then it got ugly quick, and we lost 37-3. But hey, it's Buffalo. They're one of the best teams in football. You chalk it up to a young team struggling with a veteran team that may win the Super Bowl this year. And that's how you comforted yourself in that situation. That's how you made yourself feel better. Hey, you're still 2-1. And guess what? You're heading to Philadelphia with a chance to have a share of first place 4 weeks in. You go beat the Eagles, make a statement in week 4 on the road, and let everybody know that we are for real. That's how we were feeling. And I remember telling everyone, we're going to win this game. I was confident. I listened to the players. I listened to the coaches. Everybody was confident. And boy, did we go in there and show that we were confident. We went out and we jumped out to a 14-0 lead on Philadelphia, or 17-7 lead on Philadelphia. Really, really struggled in the third quarter. Jahan Dotson had a huge drop that stymied a drive early in the third quarter. We never really got our footing in that third quarter. They were able to not only catch up, but pass us and take the lead. But boy, we didn't stop fighting. And in that fourth quarter, Sam Howell showed some guts and some moxie, and this team rallied and we fought. And Sam takes us on this beautiful drive down the field and throws a touchdown pass to Jahan Dotson as time expires on the clock. And now Ronald Rivera has a decision to make. Do you want to stun these birds? You got them on the ropes. They're all kinds of bazity. Their equilibrium is off. All you got to do is deliver the knockout blow. And he decides he wants to kick the extra point. In that moment, I should have known this season isn't going to go the way that I want it to go. Because coaches who are about winning in that moment don't flinch, they don't blink, and they damn sure don't take a step backwards. They forge forward aggressively, and whatever happens, happens, and you live with the results. We kick the extra point, we go to overtime. They incorrectly ruled Terry out of bounds on a catch down the field that would have extended the drive. A beautiful throw by Sam Howell under duress as he's fading backwards. We punt. The Eagles drive it down the field. We got them pinned on a third and long, and we played the softest coverage, allow them to get like a 9-10 yard completion, and they kick a game-winning field goal, and we lose. And we're 2-2 after the 34-31 loss. It hurt like hell, but you use that as a tool. This is the team that played in the Super Bowl a year ago. They're the measuring stick of the NFC as a whole, and specifically in the division. If you can go toe-to-toe with them on the road, at the time we did not know their defense was a sieve. If you can go toe-to-toe with them on the road and do what you just did, you should be able to beat anybody, including the next 3 teams up on the schedule. And then you see this same Eagles team in a month, and you'll have an opportunity to exact some revenge at home. But standing in your way are the Bears on a quick turnaround, Thursday Night Football, then the Falcons, and then the Giants on the road. And then you come home for the Eagles. And I remember vividly after that loss being so pissed, but so determined that we were going to win the next 3 games, get to 5-2, see those same dirty, dick dastardly Eagles in week 8, and we were going to beat them the next time and show them who's boss. Yeah, because we got Eric Bieniemy, we got Sam Howell, we got this offense, and the defense will be fine, even though they've started off horribly this season in last 3 games giving up 30 or more points. They're going to figure it out, though, right? Right, because that's what Jack Del Rio defenses do, right? Start slow, and then right around week 7 or 8, figure it out, and then hit their stride. So we're right on par. We're right on course for that whole change to happen and for us to hit that gas at the right time and go full speed ahead. All we got to do is beat the winless Bears at home on a Thursday night, then go to Atlanta, beat a bad Falcons team led by Desmond Ridder, and then find a way to beat the lowly Giants who are struggling, and that is an understatement. They've scored the least amount of points in the NFL. That's all we got to do. Well, somebody said that the worst decision Ronald made all season long was kicking the extra point against Philadelphia because it essentially led to the next week's performance against the Bears because this team was exhausted and tired, and you don't want to go to overtime. Statistics show teams that go to overtime before a Thursday night game aren't very good. Well, that proved to be true with Washington. They go into that game in week 5 against the Bears and get destroyed. It's 27-0 or 27-3 at halftime, whatever the score was. I don't remember being more embarrassed as a fan in my life. And I've sat through some ass whoopings. The Monday Night Massacre against Philadelphia, the swinging gate play against the Giants, the Chiefs game with a half-filled state. Shit, that's an exaggeration. That stadium was a quarter filled at halftime. I've sat through some bad ones. I've seen some ass whoopings. 52-7 against the Patriots. That wasn't a primetime game. Antonio Brown twerking on us. I mean, I could go on and on. There's so many games. The Steelers coming in to Washington to FedEx on a separate occasion and kicking our ass. That one was the worst because you expected to win. The other ones you hoped to win, but you didn't. This one, I was expecting a win, not just a win. I was expecting to kick their teeth in. And instead, we got our teeth kicked in against a team who hadn't won in 14 straight games. Dating back to a year ago, the Bears had not won a regular season game in their last 14, and they were up big at halftime. Go on to score 40 points and beat us 40-20. I can't remember being more mad, upset, and disappointed all in one emotion as a fan of this team. And at that moment, I should have known. This shit was over. But again, I ran through another stop sign. I ran through another red light. Me and my damn optimism. So you go on the next week, and what do? We rebound. Because what ultimately turned out to be a thing was in the even weeks, for the first 10 weeks of the season, we played competitive football. And so weeks 2, 4, and 6, you saw the best version of this team in Denver against the Eagles on the road, and now in week 6 against Atlanta. We go there. We forced 3 turnovers of Desmond Ridder, including a late game interception by Jamin Davis to preserve the victory. We jumped out of the gates offensively, held on for dear life late with the turnovers forced by the defense, and we beat the Atlanta Falcons, and we get back to 500 at 3-3 on the season, and you're feeling good. Now I just got to go beat the Giants, right? Get back over 500, and then we got that date that we were talking about with the Eagles. Didn't take care of all 3 of the games, but at least we got 2 out of the 3, and we still got a chance to exact a measure of revenge and get back into this divisional race. What we didn't know was that Eric Bieniemy had no idea that Wink Martindale was a defensive coordinator that loved to blitz. Even though everybody, including himself, talked about it all week, I had no idea. None of us had any idea that he was not going to adjust to the blitz, and we were going to act as if we had never seen a blitz before. It was comical. Needless to say, the Giants jumped out to a 14-0 lead. Mind you, the Giants had not scored a first half touchdown all season long. As a matter of fact, they had only scored 3 points in the first half of any game this season. That was until they met us and scored 14 in the first half. Probably 14 in the first quarter. Either way, Sam was sacked 7, 8 times, 9 times, whatever that ridiculous number was. We didn't wake up until the late stages of the third. We rallied. We had a field goal blocked because Ronald Rivera decided he wanted to kick a field goal instead of going for it on 4th down, which was his MO in the season. And we drove down the field late, had a chance to tie it. Sam was a little off on a pass to Jahan that he should have caught, but it was still behind him. Logan Thomas was open in the end zone. I don't fault him for not seeing Logan Thomas. Jahan was right in front of him, and if he catches it, it's a first down, maybe even a touchdown. But he doesn't, and we lose the game, 14-7. And that's when I declared the season over. I knew it at that moment. We weren't going to be any good. We dropped to 3-4, and I pretty much knew that was it. But there was still this small glimmer of hope, right? This little sliver of hope that if you could somehow rally like you did the last time to beat the Eagles, this time win, not just play well, but win, get back to 500, maybe you could still make something of the season. And this was the last game prior to the trade deadline, so if you were going to do something, now's the time to do it. So we went into that game, and we essentially, we left it all out there on the field. And we went out there and we started out like gangbusters, similar to the first time we played the Eagles. We jumped these boys. This time, instead of it being 17-7, it was 17-3. We were all over these guys, and it was a crucial 4th and 1, and Eric Bieniemy calls the dumbest play I've ever seen. A back shoulder fade to Terry McLaurin, just a simple stop. And the corner was all over it, broke it up, and the Eagles rallied from that point. Ultimately, take the lead 31-24 in the game. We go for it. Andrew Wiley gives up a sack on a 4th down after a controversial overturn of a catch that I don't know how they overturned it, but it is what it is. And they scored a touchdown, took a 38-24 lead. We got a late touchdown, Jamison Crowder, but too little too late, lose 38-31. Another valiant effort against the Eagles, but another game we came up short. And at that point, management decided it was best to start moving some of the assets that we had that were tradable, including both defensive ends, Montez Sweat and Chase Young. Once you traded those guys, there was no going back. You're now 3-5 on the season, date with New England on the road. You beat the Patriots. It was a fun game, actually. Started out 10-0, looked like you're going to blow these guys out, and then you fumble the football. Sam throws an interception right before the half, and all of a sudden, you're in a dogfight. But Sam makes a couple of big-time throws in the second half, and we pull the game out. Big interception by Quan Martin to seal the deal, and we go home happy. We're 4-5, and now this is the biggest game of the season on the road at Seattle with a chance to get back to 500. If you win this game, you can make something of your season yet again. Here we are with this false optimism. Here we go thinking that this team could do something. I don't know why we do this to ourselves. I can't speak for you. I don't know why I do this to myself. But I knew we weren't going to win this game. But sitting there and watching it and how it unfolded, and we start off quick with the, third play of the game. It's a broken play. Sam finds, B-Rob down the sidelines, touchdown, and you're thinking, well, here we go. We hang tough. Sam does it again late in the game. Big drive. Got to have it. Throws a strike to De'Ami Brown, who catches it, runs it in for a touchdown. We could go for 2, take the lead, or we could kick the extra point. Of course, Ronald kicks the extra point. What are you talking about? Kicks the extra point, and then, of course, the defense gives up the game-winning field goal, and we lose. Typical Washington Commanders football. That drops us to 4-6 on the season, and effectively, any hope of turning this season around was dead and left on that Seattle Seahawks field. After that, the floodgates opened, and literally this team quit. Week 11, you come back home after 2 on the road, and the Giants are waiting for you, and you're thinking, we should beat the Giants, but at this point, who cares? Well, I care, because I don't want to get swept by the Giants, and I'm sick and tired of losing to them. And now Danny DeVito is starting at quarterback. We better beat these bums. We sack him like 6 times in the first quarter, like 10 for the game, and we still give up 300 yards passing to this chump, or almost 300 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. We still make this clown look like a credible NFL quarterback, and we get blazed 31-19. Sam throws like 4 interceptions. We turn it over 6 times as a team. What an abysmal showing by this football team. And at that point, you go, we got to fire somebody. Something's got to be done, right? Not yet. Now is when the final middle finger from Dan Snyder, the last turd, all right, the last dump that he had to take on this fan base, is coming just 4 days later on Thanksgiving. Remember Happy Thanksgiving? Boy, was it ever. I can still hear it in my head right now.
First off, Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Shame.
First off, Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
That loss to Dallas was just gut-wrenching. You knew it was coming. You could see it a mile away, and it didn't make it any less painful. 10-10 ball game, and then we give up a touchdown, right? Or it's 13-10 ball game after Sam scores a touchdown on a read option, and it's 13-10, and the defense immediately gives up a touchdown right before the half. And I should have known at halftime when Ronald specifically singled out the defense. He's never done this before. All the times we've been getting our ass whooped this year, he never singles out anybody, never says, hey, I didn't even talk to the team when we were down 27-3 to the Bears. I didn't even talk to the team, right? But all of a sudden now he's irate about the defense. So I should have known someone's about to be the fall guy and the scapegoat. That guy would be Jack Del Rio, as in the second half, the defense falls apart. Sam throws a pick 6. They're eating turkey legs that they're pulling out of the Salvation Army bell. They're throwing LeBron James, D-Wade alley-oops. Next thing you know, it's 45-10. Damn. Well, not going to get much better next week. They fire Jack Del Rio. They fire Brent Wieselmeyer, the secondary coach. And, this is going to fix something. Well, it's too late. We're 4-8. We suck ass. And now we got to go home and play the Miami Dolphins. And Ronald forgot that Tyreek Hill was any good and that he was a dynamic receiver. And he allows him to have one-on-one with Quan Martin for the first of his 2 deep ball bomb touchdowns, and the Dolphins beat us. They could have scored 70 if they wanted to. The score was like 35-7 at halftime, and they called off the dogs. Beat us like 42-10 or whatever. But 42-16, whatever the score was, it could have been a lot worse. After that, you go on your bye, you come off the bye, it's San Francisco, or it's the Rams, excuse me. And they bench Sam for the first time in this game. Jacoby Brissett comes in, gives us a spark. They fight like hell, almost steal one from the Rams, but they fall short. But Jacoby Brissett comes in, 2 straight touchdown drives. Terry McLaurin comes alive. So now, you're thinking, well, shit, this is a disaster. It's gone from bad to worse. The one thing that we were looking forward to, they've ruined that too in Sam Howell. Next week against the Jets, this is a big game. This is like the toilet bowl from back in 2019 with the Giants. Like, you can't afford to beat the Jets. Somebody's going to win this game and somebody's going to F up their draft stock. And at this point, the season's over. There's no reason to want to win. You can't salvage anything. You might as well lose. I hate rooting against my favorite team, but I know what's best. So Sam goes out there. He fights for a little while, and then it gets ugly. And he throws a bad interception, and they bench him again. And here comes Jacoby to save the goddamn day again. And Jacoby goes on 3 consecutive touchdown drives. And all of a sudden, we were down like 27-7. Now all of a sudden it's 28-27 and we're winning the game. And I don't know what the hell just happened, but I don't like it. Luckily enough, the football gods were smiling down on us. And he said, don't worry. I'm not going to let anything happen to your precious number 2 overall pick. And the Jets went down the field, got in the field goal range, and kicked the game-winning field goal. Bless Greg Zuerlein's heart for banging that thing through. And the Jets win the game 30-28. Disaster averted. The following week, they're going to bench Sam. Let's see what Jacoby can do against the San Francisco 49ers. We're all excited because I'm like, hell, is it Sam or is it Eric Bieniemy's offense? It's one thing to come into a game that seems over, defense takes their foot off the gas pedal, and your backup quarterback comes in slinging dimes. It's another thing to start the game off when the defense is game planning for you and the game is still within reach, or it's 0-0 rather, and let's see what Jacoby Brissett does from the jump. And then mysteriously, he has a hamstring injury and doesn't play. Sam does. And he fights his ass off in the first half. We're actually competitive. We're right there. There's a drive in the second quarter, or I might have been the third quarter, where you go, whoa. And then Sam does the Sam thing, and defense falls apart. Sam throws a back-breaking pick down in the red zone, and the rest is history. So they lose that game, and then you got your final game of the season against Dallas. They fought like hell in that game early, and then that got ugly quickly, and that ended up being like 42 or 35-10 or whatever. And so what started out as a 2-0 season.
Hey, hurry up. We at the restaurant. I'm telling them hurry up before they try to take my win back. We 2-0. Hurry up, bring your ass, get in this car. We 2-0.
What started out as a 2-0 season, can you believe that? Ended in 4-13. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But what we got out of that, it was tough to endure 4-13, but what we got on the other side of that is what we're witnessing right now. That number 2 overall pick helped lure the best GM candidate that was on the market, and is probably going to help lure the best head coaching candidate that was on the market as well. That number 2 overall pick may be the difference between Adam Peters going elsewhere and him choosing to come here. Same thing with Ben Johnson. So while it was tough to get swept by the NFC East and go 0-6 in the division, to lose in the fashion that we did, to see Sam Howell ruined by this staff, to have to endure all of the Bieniemy-isms, and to sit there watching Ron with his arms folded and, lackadaisical, not knowing what the hell to say out of his mouth, and, putting his foot in his mouth repeatedly, it all ended up being worth it. And the best thing about all of it is that the reign of terror is officially over. We don't have to worry about that dark cloud anymore. We don't have to worry about Ronald Rivera anymore, Eric Bieniemy, Jack Del Rio, any of them. They're all gone. And I know Bieniemy isn't gone yet. He'll be gone here shortly. It's over. We're free. Now, let's see how we do things as a real NFL outfit. I'm excited for the opportunity that is being bestowed upon us. But damn, we had to go through 25 years almost of this shit, this reign of terror, to get to where we ultimately are now. If that doesn't bring a greater appreciation for what's going on right now, nothing ever will. I wish we didn't have to endure a near quarter of a century of the shit that we dealt with Daniel Snyder to get to where we are now. But as I always tell you guys, it's going to make it that much sweeter when we finally taste success in large quantities. Anyway, I digress. That was the series finale of the Reign of Terror with yours truly, your man Louie T. Until next time, you guys have a good one. Hey, Mortimer, we're back.
LouieTeeNetwork.